Welcome to another episode of Social Impact Conversations podcast with myself, Untanta Shabala. Social Impact Conversations is a podcast and a platform where we sit with change makers making an impact within communities through action, advocacy, and purpose. Today is no different. So much for sir, and welcome to the Social Impact Conversations podcast.
Thanks to you for the invitation. We're really delighted to be part of this. Well, I could be feeling much better. The work is we've got a lot of work. You know, when you are a change maker, there's never a time when you say there's less work, and we've got a lot of work. We're not saying we're tired. We're feeling good.
Nice one. So what we do here at the Social Impact Conversation podcast is that we align how you are feeling with our rainbow colors. So out of these colors, what color would best resemble how you are feeling today?
Well, I'll say orange.
Orange, right. Okay, so when we speak of orange, it says that orange stands for creativity and collaboration. And for change makers, it says orange symbolizes innovation and people-centered solutions. It says you believe in finding new ways to solve old problems. It also speaks about bringing diverse voices together. It also speaks about building partnerships and trust. And lastly, it also speaks about sustainable impact is created through collective creativity.
Well, it couldn't have summarized it better. Collaboration, we look at SDG 17.
Sure.
And in all that we've done as African Child at Work, it has been about collaboration. We wouldn't be where we're sitting over a period of 6 years without having collaborated with other sort of entities which are in and around South Africa.
Nice one. Right, so before we actually then get into the African Child at Work, let us talk to the people, the viewers. They want to know, who is Thabiso Masigo?
Thank you for the opportunity. Thabiso Masigo is a young man that was born and bred in Soweto, Orlando East. A father of twins and twin girls and 2 other daughters. A husband to my wife, who is also a co-founder of both the entities, Tshwaraneng, Matsoho, and African Child at Work.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, for the past, let's say 16 years, I've gained experience in the mining space through the corporate social investment projects. And years later, I then moved from mining space into the renewable space, doing exactly the same thing, but now in the renewable space, out in the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and the Northern Cape. And years later, we realized that the communities that we come from are not really serviced. Let's go back home and service our communities at no cost. And let's be real change makers and add value into our communities. And that's who I am in a nutshell.
Nice one. So obviously coming from a space of corporate and, letting it go, what you're doing now obviously does not come with a salary. So how was the journey from moving from corporate to actually then living to the purpose that you are living now?
It comes with its own challenges, and it's not necessarily a new challenge. I work with a lot of change makers who are running organizations, and a lot of them are coming from corporate, and they all come back from corporate because of different and various challenges that they faced.
Sure.
And for all of us, it's a paycheck at the end of the month, where you need to go and service your debts, and the money is not enough, or the money is not there, and we're changing the game of how civil society organizations are working.
Sure.
As you were doing the introduction, you'll realize that we've got an entity which is named Tshwaraneng Plant and Poultry Production.
Sure.
That is basically a vehicle that supports African Child at Work. So we've got a business which is for profit, which is Tshwaraneng Plant and Poultry. When it makes funds, it then supplies into African Child at Work.
Nice one. Okay. So obviously then there's the business side where there's profit made, but now it feeds to this African child at work. So give us a overview of what African child at work does. As an NPO, what do you do?
Thank you for the opportunity once again. African Child at Work was given birth to in 2019. From 2019 up to 2020, African Child at Work was operating without being registered informally. 2020, we took a stance to register, and our very first project that we looked at in 2020 was to take 10 unemployed community members in and around Soweto and teach them on how to survive with plant production. We found a school in Soweto, Orlando East. I was, at the time, I was the chairperson of the SGB,
Okay.
and we requested for space to utilize that space, and we trained the 10 unemployed youth to do their own farming and supply shops. From there, we then looked at other challenges that we found in our communities. We did what you call your needs analysis, where you go to the community and find out what is it that you need in your community. When you are in a community and you're doing a needs analysis, you are for sure going to find 1,000 needs.
Absolutely.
And you need to find a way to say, there's 1,000 needs, which ones do we address? What is our core business? What are we focusing on? And 3 legacy projects stood out for us. And why do we call them legacy projects? Is because they stand out almost in every community that we go to. There's no 2 communities that are alike, but these 3 projects stood out. Firstly, it's the soup kitchen, where we feed about 160 to 180 learners every Tuesday and Thursday. Secondly, it's the menstrual education project, where we see girls and give them menstrual health and hygiene education, and not only provide a product, because providing a product might be as simple as a parent going to buy it and they use it and use it wrongly. And thirdly, we've got a project which is one of the legacy ones as well, where we do a school shoe project. We do it the whole year. We don't have Jan, hey, abantwana banazinto.
School,
No, we don't. The whole year through. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we polish kids' shoes. And when we find a kid that does not have adequate shoes, we replace them. Then, if we don't have that particular size, we go and get the size and we provide it on the next coming day. But those are not only the projects that we do. We do plant production, where we teach how to plant. We do hospice visits. We've got a hospice that we visit on Thursdays. Why do we visit a hospice? A hospice is a place where you find that it's people who are almost gotten rid of. They're sick, they die. It's no longer like that. But they've moved from their family. Now they're sitting with a caregiver who has got 30 other patients that they must take care of. Imagine I'm taking care of 30 patients. I will not have the patience for them. But African Child at Work comes on a Thursday and say, we are here to devote our time. We'll take care of the patients. We play a movie for them. We bring popcorns. We bring juice. We clip their nails. We shave them. We give them a facial shave and a hair shave. By the time you have to leave the hospice, they actually don't want you to leave. So you actually bringing that home vibe into the hospice. They actually remember that we've got family members. And without wasting further time on that particular project, we've got a project which touches lives across South Africa. But not just across South Africa, it goes into Africa, where we do career guidance. We go and find institutions where we can do career guidance. The first career guidance that we did for ourselves was, we wanted to show the kids that outside where you come from, there's a great opportunity of the world being your oyster.
Absolutely,
And not just being your oyster, skiing on the world. We will take the learners and say, give us the professions that you want to explore. And one will say chef, and say the second one, teacher, third one, lawyer. And we find someone who's in law, someone who's a teacher, someone who's a chef. And we'll take them hiking. So let's say, for instance, we take 20 students. We find professionals. We'll find a camera crew that says we're dealing with digital stuff, and all of that. And they will hike with those learners. the learner's responsibility for that day is for them to come back and say to us, here's a one-pager, I enjoyed the hike, and this is what I understood from the professional, and I still want to continue. Then we take that letter, we go back to the professional that was mentoring that learner on that day. We say, please do us a favor, for the next 3 years, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, you are going to mentor this particular learner. Whether it's one learner, two learners, or three learners, you are going to mentor them, and you take them through a journey as a professional. And this learner, chances of them being lost in their academic life are very slim.
Slim, true.
Because they've got a mentor that's working with them, you know. And once they finish their grade 12, we then get them registered into whatever university that they try to register. And once they register and they are successful, we then find a second year or a third year student who is in the same course that they're doing.
To still then become a mentor.
To be a second mentor.
Sure.
So you as a mentor, you are in engineering, and then this learner is in engineering. We take the 3 hours away. So you had 3 hours a week. Now we're saying you give this learner 1.5 hours a week. The learner who's still in varsity, who's gone through their first year, will now take over the 1.5 hours. Now this learner has got a professional and he's got a PA who is now taking them through. And all we are asking for from this learner is to the same once they
to their second year.
Pay it forward.
But you know, one thing you were speaking about is you make it sound so easy about actually finding a mentor.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure even the viewers are thinking, okay, but how do you get a professional to mentor a child who's in grade 10, 11, and 12? What relation do you then, or what does it take to be able to secure such mentors? Because I promise you, a lot of viewers out there are thinking, there's no way I can find a mentor and I'm still in grade 10. So how are you what does it take for you as an organization or even as an individual to make sure that you have someone who's in a professional space commit to mentoring a learner who's still in Soweto probably or somewhere in the rural areas?
Thank you for that. 5 years ago, I would have said to you it's difficult. Today, I sit here in front of you and say, I get messages, I get calls daily to say, what value can I add? I am a doctor. I love what you're doing. What value can I add?
Sure.
I'll mention one social justice. He calls himself Justice Sayisi. He's based in Cape Town. Whenever he sees what we do, he says, what can I add? What value can I add? He's in Cape Town, we're doing work in Johannesburg. Goes to a length of flying from Cape Town to coming here.
Sure.
I'll mention the second one. I've got it. Oh, wow. These people are all in the law fraternity. Second one, I've got a childhood friend that I grew up with.
Sure.
He drove all the way from Soweto into the Free State. I was doing career guidance for grade 10, 11, 12 learners in the Free State. Had a court date that he had in Protea. From there, he drove all the way to Free State. The third one is also a law.
Something about law.
Something about law.
Something about law, sure.
She would drop, her name is Nolwaz. Nolwaz Shabalala, if I'm not mistaken. She would drop everything that she's doing if there's no commitment that has to do with work, sure, and come through. We've got a couple of doctors on our list who would leave their weekend life and come and assist. We are looking at a cohort, the first cohort that's going to second year. And we'll be releasing a report to say this is how they fed. And we are going to ask them to write the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. But the main story on that is that how could their lives have been without this mentorship? And how are their lives now with this mentorship? You'll hear it, you'll see it, we'll send it to you.
Absolutely. But you know, I'm actually very intrigued with what we are talking about. Like, I'm gonna take it again. You make it sound so easy, but it means for an organization to actually find people who say, what value can I add? that means there's a certain positioning that the African child at work is portraying, you know. So let's speak about probably NPOs, funders or change makers out there. How do you then position yourself to be in a space where, if I'm a doctor, I'll be able to say, Thabiso, what value can I add? Because there must be a certain positioning that you must align with. Not every organization gets calls to say, we want to, what value can we add? How is African Child at Work positioned in order to be able to be a gateway for people to say, we can mentor?
I think more than anything for us is that corporate really shaped us to be what we are.
Okay.
We left corporate with a lot of contacts. And the relationships that we had in corporate, we were still, when we left, we never left it with bad blood. We were still be able to call to say, hey, so-and-so, here is where we are, this is what we're doing, are you able to assist? And I'll share a story with you, very recent story, probably 4 months story.
Sure.
This story is a baby. We as African Child at Work were recruited to be on a sort of crowdfunding app.
Okay.
Almost similar to Back a Body, but not Back a Body.
Yeah.
Similar. But we brought it home because it's people that you know, people that we know that are using the system and all of that. And after we were onboarded, one of the ladies that's sitting at the team, at the Mealy team, that crowdfunding is called Mealy crowdfunding.
Okay.
We're part of that. We've raised funds there as well. One of the ladies that's responsible for onboarding us has someone that they know in a very, very big pharmaceutical company in South Africa. And they're saying, this particular friend has been looking for an organization that does this work that you're doing.
Sure.
Do you mind if I introduce you to them? And we always say we don't mind. And we were introduced into that big pharmaceutical, the other big pharmaceutical company. And from that, we've had the CEO of the pharmaceutical company come and join us and do work
On the ground.
on the ground.
Sure.
And I'm sure that they wouldn't mind us calling the name of the so it's Pfizer South Africa.
Sure.
The CEO of Pfizer South Africa came on the ground. The managing executive of Pfizer came on the ground and came and worked with us. But without forgetting other big companies that have actually said, we like what you're doing. The chairman or the former chairman of the board of ABSA South Africa.
Sure.
Has been one of our big donors at African Child at Work. One of our co-founders, which is Lerado, went and presented what we plan to do and what we were doing on the ground.
Sure.
And once they did that, the chairman of the board said, I like what you're doing. And they came on board and said, here is funding, go and do what you're doing. And yearly we go back and report, and without fail, we've yearly been part of the chairman's fund at ABSA. There's a new chairman that has just resumed work last year in July.
Sure.
And just to show that the chairman that left had briefed the new chairman, we did get the chairman's fund again now in 2025, the end of 2025. So again, the values that we've always had from when we started, when we were operating unregistered, they're still there. But just to conclude on that, what we believe in at African Child at Work is helping the next person. And while you're helping the next person chips in to help.
Sure.
We never say it's African Child at Work. Whenever someone else has a piece of work that they're doing, we say, where is it that we can assist? And a lot of people will then send professionals our way to say there is this bit of help. Are you able to do it?
Break. Make sure
are
that
you able
you
to
stay
take-
tuned in, and you don't definitely want to miss this informative conversation with Thabiso Masigo. Right, so we just got back from the break, and as you were saying, Mr. Matsoho, you were speaking about obviously funders believing in you and believing in the work that you do, right? So with that, let's talk about probably the growth points that you've experienced, as well as let's speak about the lessons that you've learned within the journey of actually doing the work that you do.
Thank you. Growth point is big, and we sit here today and talk about growth point.
Sure.
Just yesterday, one of our co-founders wrote something about the growth point of African child at work. And one of the things that she mentioned was she remembers the days when we used to write proposals, 40 proposals, and none of them bear any fruit. Forget about bearing any fruit. Getting a response and saying sorry.
Sure.
That was not there.
Yes.
Today we sit comfortably and we are approached by donors. Yesterday we were approached by the University of Northwest in Vanderbilt. And the approach is that, guys, we've seen what you're doing. You've invited us to career guidance, and we love what you're doing. Let us lock this in.
Sure.
We want to work with you. Let's have a meeting. So this afternoon at 5 o'clock, we're having a meeting with the HOD at Vanderbilt Park in Humanities. It is because of the legwork that we've put in. It's because of the consistency. And saying we are going to reach what we want to reach.
Sure.
I'm not saying we're no longer writing proposals. We're minimizing on writing proposals now.
You're just letting the work speak for itself.
We're letting the work speak for itself. And in the work speaking for itself, we have been nominated over 10 times.
Sure.
Over the last 3 years. Not the 6 years, but over the last 3 years. Even though we've not bagged an award, just that recognition of being nominated.
Sure.
Not only in South Africa. We've been nominated in Dubai.
Nice.
We've been nominated in Kenya. We've been nominated for the CSI Legacy Awards.
Sure.
Those nominations means that the work that we're doing is visible out there. And if the work is visible, we are glad because it means we're doing something good.
Sure.
And we're hoping to continue for many, many years to come.
So I love the growth points that you are touching base on. Obviously, being nominated on its own is already a highlight. It means that, of course, the brand is doing what it's meant to do. But what are some of the lessons that you've learned, maybe the last 6 years, if you can say?
A lot of lessons. In this space, you come in, you bring your corporate mindset. And you send an email, you're hoping it will be responded to. It's not responded to.
Sure.
Follow up. With everything that you do, you do it with the aim that you'll follow up.
Sure.
For instance, last year we were doing a closing party for our 160 learners. And the wish was to give every child a Santa shoe box. And at the time that we were packaging this, it was very late. It was in October. And each box contained stationery like your ruler, your pencil, your rubber, your sharpener, your calculator, and a gift, whether it's shoes for a child, whether it's sanitary pads, whether it's a deodorant, whether it's lotion, whether it's a t-shirt, one of those. And we couldn't package 160. We could only reach about 80. Simply because we had asked for assistance from other donors who had said yes, but they never pitched.
Sure.
So with everything that you do, it's follow up. And secondly, I'd say to you, when you are in this space, always keep yourself ahead of time. There is an organization called Pambano Technologies. It used to be SupTech. It is an organization which is responsible for training non-profit companies.
Sure.
in that space, you find like-minded individuals and change makers.
Yeah.
And I've found that in that space, I've found a lot of like-minded people who, when I say, can we start doing this? They jump and say, how do we do it? How can I help? What is it that we can do? There's a lady that we met at the Simpium Tetwa Legacy Awards. Met her 3 years ago. She was nominated for something. Her name is Dr. Luleka Mkuze. She has been very, very instrumental in us laying the groundwork in the Eastern Cape. There's a gentleman by the name Bunamelo
Muloy, yeah. He sounds very familiar.
Yeah, Bunamelo Muloy. He runs Melisizwe Foundation. Very instrumental in us finding a lot of clothing items in the northern suburbs. There's a gentleman by the name Ndibu Olepadzi. Every now and again, we check in what sponsors he's got, what donors he's got, and we exchange.
Sure.
You know, it's part of this thing. If it's not an ecosystem, it will fall.
Absolutely.
It has to be an ecosystem. So one of the very, very most goals that we believe in, and I'm going to tell you a story, a very short story, after telling you the goal that we believe in. Sustainable Development Goal number 17. It says partnership for goals.
Sure.
If SDG 17 was not there, we as African Child at Work would not be where we are today. We'll probably be behind. We have progressed so much because of the collaborations that we've done with a lot of entities.
Sure.
The little story that I wanted to share with you. Go back to 2012. I am new into corporate. The company that I work for is contracted by Total Coal South Africa, and my boss is given a call to say, there is something that's called an MDG. Do you have interest in it? He says, no, I was in Washington, we were talking about these MDGs. I've just come back to South Africa, I'm interested.
Sure.
And I was tasked with the task to bring the Millennium Development Goals into South Africa. This is in 2012. We are now sitting in 2026. We're no longer talking about the 8 MDGs. We're now talking about 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Absolutely.
Back then, they were just goals. They never had targets. They never had a limitation. They changed to have targets because we're saying we want to end poverty. How do you end poverty? Who are you aiming?
Sure.
And what is the timeline? We want to end hunger. We want to promote good health and well-being. But there needs to be targets.
Yeah.
So this Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals has got a very, very sentimental place in my life because it's when my career started and it's when my career is skyrocketing.
Sure.
You know, so yeah, I think let me pause it there.
I love that. You know, as you're speaking about the SDG 17, right? It's a matter of we find organizations on the ground finding or seeing each other as competitions. From your own experience, you know, what advice would you give a young change maker out there? You know, someone who's probably got this edge, this thing that is birthed in them, but they don't know where to start. And how would you just advise that young change maker out there?
You know, your question is spot on. My answer might be wrong, but let me give the answer.
Sure.
2021.
Sure.
One of the projects that we implemented was to bring entrepreneurs into one space. And the goal was to say, let us find entrepreneurs that have made it and aspiring entrepreneurs and those who have not made it but they are into entrepreneurship. Those who have made it did not want to share with those that want to be entrepreneurs. But we come from the very same community.
Sure.
Right, fast forward to your question. In our space, we really find organization and change makers not wanting to share information.
Yes.
It is selfish and it's not going to add value because we're not serving ourselves.
Sure.
We're serving the communities that we work for. And I would say to an aspiring change maker, go out there, make it happen, and if you want to keep touch with African Child at Work, give us a call.
Sure.
And with that, we're not just inviting today.
Yeah.
Daily, we say, here we are, use us to the best of your ability.
Mm-hmm.
If we can help you, we will help you. If we can't help you, we will refer you
To someone else. Sure.
Just to close off on that topic, in the past 8 months, when people say, how do you run a successful kitchen? We say, what is your plan? They say, I don't have a plan, I'm new, can I do this?
Mm-hmm.
We say, definitely, if you are driven, yes, you can do it. If you're looking for the Benjamins, you won't do it.
Absolutely.
Come in, start doing it, and look for the Benjamins. A lot of people say, I don't have funding. Well, we never had funding when we started.
Mm-hmm.
We ran this thing for about 3 years from out of our own pocket.
Sure.
It's successful today because we were persistent.
Mm.
We persevered. There were times when people would say, hey, these ones, they'll never go anywhere. But we said, we are driven.
Mm.
And we're not doing this because we want fame. We're doing this because we're sent by God.
Sure.
We're doing the Lord's work.
Sure.
He fuels the car, and we get to do the work.
Please get provision for the vision, if it is
Definitely.
actually. I love that you had the Bible right here. So also, speaking of the Bible, I want obviously to give me an idea where you see African Child at Work going. So what's the vision going forward?
Interesting question. Right. Fortunately, this time you're gonna get the right answer, not the wrong answer. In 2025, we set out targets of not in 2025. In 2025, we achieved.
Mm-hmm.
We started opening African Child at Work in 7 other African countries. 7 other African countries.
Namely?
Uganda,
Mm-hmm.
Zambia, Windhoek,
Okay.
Zimbabwe, Botswana.
Mm.
What happened is we thought that we could run with the very same document that South Africa is running with.
Sure.
And little did we know that each country has got to have its
own,
own documentation. We've stalled the process because of that. It requires a lot of money.
Mm.
In South Africa, you spend 175 rand and you're done with the registration for the NPO.
Sure.
You're done with your compliance and everything. But in one of the countries, you actually require about 3,500 rands just
For the same.
for the same process.
Sure.
But the legwork has been done. The volunteers are there.
Mm.
The country officials are there. And what we would like to see, in many years to come, is that African Child at Work is replicated
Yeah.
in the whole of Africa. We're not going outside of Africa before we finish the work in Africa. The poverty is in Africa.
Sure.
And sometimes we say that there's poverty. Hey, you must see our dustbins, how are they full of food?
Mm.
We're tired of saying to people, come from Europe and come and feed our kids.
Sure.
When we've got excess of food, the farms are sitting with excess of food. When we get the food, then we throw the food in the bins.
Sure.
But here's a closing statement on that particular one. We are doing a plant production project.
Mm-hmm.
We do it yearly. And this year it's sponsored by Pfizer. They have donated what we call planter boxes, which are ready. We will be planting in those planter boxes. We are trying to say to our beneficiaries of the soup kitchen, do not be happy to just be fed. Do not be happy to be given a fish.
Yes.
We want to show you
Learn,
how to
yes.
plant.
Yeah.
We want to teach you how to plant, and not just how to plant, because it's got no value to show you how to plant and not show you how to maintain the plant.
Absolutely.
And not show you how to correctly maintain the plant and how to harvest.
Sure.
Because you find a person saying, in a spinach in my backyard and I'm just going to cut in a scale. You're actually killing the spinach.
Hmm.
We have to teach you how to harvest your crops.
Sure.
So we're doing that. And while we're doing that, assisting the kids at the soup kitchen how to be able to run their vegetable garden,
Mm-hmm.
they will then appreciate the food when it's cooked. Then we'll have less food which is being thrown away, because you'll know the process of growing this food.
Absolutely.
You'll know the process of watering the plant. You'll know the process of making sure that there's no weeds.
Mm.
You'll know the process of actually harvesting. And then there comes soil rotation, Because you can't be planting spinach this year and planting spinach next year on the same soil. You're killing the soil. So that is the dream that we've actually pitched this to Pfizer. They've supported us with the planter boxes. We will now be starting a plant production with our soup kitchen beneficiaries.
I love that. And this conversation is very, very inspiring to me. You come across as someone who's got your things in the right line. So there is somebody who has inspired you. Obviously in the space that you are in, as change makers. There's quite a lot of people doing what you are doing, but who would you say is one person that really inspires you to continue doing the work that you do?
Unfortunately, if I say one person, I'll be lying.
Sure.
It's a culmination of a tree.
Yeah.
I'll give you 4 names, and I hope that with the 4 names I'll be able to unpack a bit, and
Sure.
I won't be long. Firstly, when I started in corporate, I had a mentor, and if you don't have a mentor, you don't have a direction.
Sure.
I had a gentleman at that time. His name was he did not have a doctor in his before his name, but now he's got a doctor before his name. He's now called Dr. Havikion. He planted a seed in my mind to say you can be anything that you want to be.
Sure.
We used to work for big companies, Total Coal South Africa, DPAs, Kumba Iron Ore, Sishin Iron Ore Company, and all of that. And he said, if you want to build anything like this for yourself, think of where you come from. I will never forget that. Secondly, my mom, who is the current cook at our soup kitchen.
Sure.
Without her, the drive that I have, I would not have it. Whenever I say there's no money to cook, she says, what can we put together? When someone says that, she's giving you hope. And she has been very instrumental in myself and my siblings growing up. She's given us values that we'll never ever lose. No matter anyone comes and beats us out, and these values will still be stuck with us.
Sure.
Thirdly, my dad. He is 86 this year.
Sure.
That man can still plant. People say I've got green fingers, but wait until they see my dad's green fingers.
Sure.
They're greener than green. He says, if you are going to eat anything, you need to make sure that it comes from your own hands. My dad never ate pizza for many, many years, and he says, this pizza I pay one for sure.
Yeah.
It's dirty. So he never ate pizza for many, many years. So if you want to eat anything, make sure that those crumbs is from your own hands.
Sure.
And when I talk to the soil, I talk to the soil based on that gentleman. He still plants. This year I've eaten sweet potato that was planted by my dad. I've eaten pawpaw that was planted by my dad. I've eaten lychees that were planted by my dad.
Wow.
I've eaten chicken that he helped rear. And lastly, it would be my wife.
Sure.
Without her, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
When I said to her, we need to register a non-profit organization, she said, what value will it add? And I explained to her, she said, let's do it. And throughout the years, she has been very instrumental in making sure that African Child at Work thrives. The very, very, very first funding that we got as African Child at Work, we got from ABSA. We wrote a proposal for her to go and represent South Africa in Manchester through One Young World. She went there, she came back. She was selected as one of the 3 people who are going to give feedback to the ABSA executive. And she rocked it. Without her, we wouldn't be where we're sitting. We are actually enjoying the fruits of that particular day when she went and gave the speech of what we are doing, what do we want to do, and why do we want to do it. Because with everything that we are doing, we have to have a purpose.
Love that. Just then also in closing,